Welcome to the first episode of Flixwatcher podcast. I'm Helen.
And I'm Kobe.
Today we are joined by Felix and Tom from the comedy serial podcast Wooden Overcoats, where we will be discussing and dissecting the Aardman animation Pirates.
An adventure with misfits.
Or scientists, whichever version you end up watching.
Join us on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod. Come and visit us on our website, flixwatcher.tv, and go to iTunes. Subscribe to us, review, and share with your friends, because sharing is caring.
And we hope you enjoy the show.
All films were available on Netflix at the time of recording.
There will be spoilers and bad language. You have been warned. Hello and welcome to this edition of Flixwatcher podcast. And today we are joined by Felix and Tom. Do you want to say hello and introduce yourselves and tell us what podcasting things you do?
Hello, I'm Tom.
Hello, I'm Felix, and together we work on Wooden Overcoats, which is a sitcom released as a podcast.
And we do nothing else together.
That's it.
Like, you just disowned him right here, right now.
How was it you described the podcast to me?
So I described it as Archers with... It's like an Archers 6 Feet Under Larry David mashup with...
There's nothing that podcast listeners like more than an Archers reference.
Yep. And Larry David as well.
And Larry David.
So Last of the Summer Wine. There's lots of that in there too. I'm not sure if that's a recommendation, but I always think of it.
What do we get? We get, compared to Goon Show,
Cabin Pressure.
because we're on the radio.
Because we're a radio sitcom.
Yeah.
There's not many of them.
Well, we're not on the radio.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're on some radio. We're on some like non-for-profit radios in America.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, every now and we've had 2, I think, now email us.
So truckers listen to us and podcast
say,
fans.
can we broadcast your thing? We go, yeah, do you have any money? And they go, no.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, sure.
I love the idea of a long haul trucker tuning his AM radio and then a station coming in just with us having a little back and forth sort of comedy scene, and then sort of immediately sort of staticking out as he leaves the county, like before he can get through the scene, because we're long form narrative, so it doesn't suit that at all.
Was that a story narrated by a mouse? What was
Yeah,
happening
exactly.
there?
What? Huh?
What? So we're here to talk about pirates, an adventure with scientists, or an adventure with misfits, depending where you are in the world.
Band of Misfits.
Band of Misfits.
Which makes no sense.
No.
But Tom, you chose this. Can you give us a synopsis, and why did you choose it?
It's a comedy. It's an Aardman Animations comedy, which means it looks a lot like Wallace and Gromit. And also it's heavy on the visual gags and the word gags. So it's all about the pirate captain, whose name is the Pirate Captain, and his crew, who are, well, they travel, we assume, the Caribbean, and have various sort of adventures, pillaging and having sword fights. Having ham night. Ham night's very important. Ham night is very important in the film.
It's very funny.
Yeah, it's very funny. Don't get to the review yet. We've got to synopsize it
sorry.
first. And so anyway...
4 out of 5.
Okay, well, the pirates...
Hold for
Spoilers.
5 out of 5.
Stop it. I've ruined the ending now. Stop listening. The pirate crew are pretty contented, but the pirate captain himself is obsessed with winning the Pirate of the Year award, which his great rivals, of which there are several, have always taken ahead of him. So, in amidst his great defeats at his attempts to become the Pirate of the Year, he ends up on a tropical island and picking up the young Charles Darwin, who then escorts them back to London once he sees that among their crew is a still alive dodo, which had already died out. So, similarly to the pirate captain, Darwin is desperate to become the scientist of the year. He takes the dodo and the crew back to London, and adventures continue thereforth.
I think that's a fantastic synopsis.
Yeah,
Just about.
Yeah.
Sort of mention the voices. Obviously, the pirate captain is Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant, unrecognisable, fantastic.
Yeah.
Mm.
And there's quite a lot of other British talent. Martin Freeman's in there.
Yep.
David Tennant. And,
Ashley Jensen.
Yeah. Selma Hayek's in there as
Lenny
well.
Henry.
Yes, he's always
Lenny
fantastic
Henry,
in
isn't
it. I always loved Lenny Henry turning up in anything.
Brian Blessed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Brian
of course,
Blessed's
Brian
played
Blessed.
Pirate King.
There he
yeah.
is.
Oh, yes, Brian Blessed, Pirate King. Nailed on casting.
I realise we're on a podcast. I'm pointing to an image of him.
You're pointing to a plasticine image.
Oh,
of
God.
him.
It's a screen projecting an image of a plasticine figure.
So
character
we're
of
in
Brian
London
Blessed. Yeah.
right now.
Yes.
So what do we make of this film, guys?
I loved it. I also loved Curse of the Were Rabbit, the Wallace and Gromit feature, and I just think it's such a kind of carry-on-esque. I mean, if you want to know what's Wooden Overcoats like, it's a lot like a version of this that you can't see the pictures of. Like it's quite Aardman animations, and it is quite sort of...
It's so silly. It's
Silly,
so
yeah.
Beano Town,
Yes.
Calamity James kind of gags.
It is.
And they come so regularly and so thick and fast, and they're kind of hidden everywhere. It's street corner signs, kind of tavern sign names.
Yeah, so many sight gags and little moments and
callbacks. Like, some really lovely moments of callback. You got the ham night, you got the
Vinegar
pirates
and
dressed as girl guides.
yeah, and the vinegar and the baking soda coming out a couple of times.
Oh yes. It's just all those things are quite subtly set up, and they're not really telegraphed in that very nice sort of film storytelling way where you go, there's so many images and fun ideas that are very easy to latch onto quickly being thrown at you that when some are brought back, it's a genuine surprise. So like when the sort of pivotal moment of foiling the evil plot is something you've already seen, you go, oh, that was perfectly set up, but I didn't see it coming because there was so much different sort of richness in the rules of this world, this sort of cartoon world.
Do you know what I love is this character here that I'm pointing at, the pirates.
So for those people who are listening,
which
is everyone outside of us four here,
So,
it's the surprisingly curvaceous pirates.
yeah, the pirate who is clearly a woman dressed as a man, which is never addressed.
No, that's never resolved. She's never found out.
It's just that pirate's character.
Yeah, and they draw, even while they're dressing as girl guides in disguise, that's never addressed either.
No.
And her fake beard stays on. Who plays the...
Ashley Jensen, I think.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Blimey.
I thought, yeah, it was great. This is the second time I saw it. The first time was in the cinema when it first came out, and I think this is one of the scores where the repeat viewing score is going to be very high because there's so much stuff going on in here that I clearly missed the first time. Even though the first time I saw it was in the cinema, there were so many things going on in the background. Like I said, the street signs, I can't remember any of them now because there's too many things that kind of just nudged itself out of my brain as soon as the next kind of gag came along.
Strangely, when this came out, you saying that now makes me remember that a beef that I'm going to address now on air, which is at the time I was working on as a writer on a cartoon show at the time this came out, and someone, I won't say who was working on the program, who I think was the only person in the office who'd seen it, came in and said, I saw that Pirates movie, the Aardman movie last night. I went, is it any good? And they went, nah. And now I think they must have been a complete fool, and that's why I didn't go and see it at the time. But now...
So this is the first time you've seen it?
Yeah, first time I saw it. It was absolutely wonderful. It's just so up my street.
Helen?
How did you feel?
Well, I did see this at the cinema, and when obviously it was down to suggest it, I sort of went, I've seen that. I can't really remember much about it. And I thought it was all right.
You fool.
Well, this is it. See, Peter Lord was director of this, also Chicken Run, and obviously some of the Wallace and Gromit stuff. I mean, it's got everything in it that I should like, and some of the jokes I think are very, very good. But I think it's just because it's kind of pirates, and they're not really as interesting as Talking Chickens, or they're not really as kind of fun as Wallace and Gromit. I don't.
It's got a way sort of looser premise, I guess, because pirates is just pirates.
Have you been jaded because of Johnny Depp?
No, I mean I can see exactly why you all loved it and think it's brilliant, and I was quite surprised when it came out that it wasn't as popular as it probably should have been. For some reason, it just didn't quite have the Chicken Run power, or it didn't quite have, the Wallace and Gromit behind it. I mean, it looks fantastic. The attention to detail is superb, and the characters are just completely bizarre, and they maintain their quirks and everything all the way through. So everything in it is saying you should like this film, but it just
Never
really I didn't really connect with it, and which is a bit of a shame. There was like one or two minutes I laughed out loud, but yeah, I just didn't. I don't know. I just kind of felt
you coasted through.
Yeah, which is a shame because obviously you all really, really enjoyed it.
Curse you!
I know. I don't know. I don't know if it's the pirates. I'm not really sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the cast, the voices are great. The voices are really matched with the characters, and it's kind of that little balance of, oh yeah, it is that actor, and they
Martin
kind of
Freeman looks like his
yeah,
character.
and it kind of brings that sort of real life element to it, which is obviously a puppet, which sometimes that doesn't really happen with these kind of animated films. They don't really bring any character to what they're voicing. So it's really well directed. It looks great. There's kind of a lot of fun elements, but just something in there just didn't really. I just don't have the love for it that I'm feeling. I'm being suffocated.
It might be circumstance as well, because we Felix recently moved to Paris. Temporarily, we hope, but maybe not. And we watched this first on the weekend when we and one of the producers of Wooden Overcoats, Andy Goddard, went to Felix's parents' house to drop off some of his things. And it was just the most perfect evening of a takeaway curry. Some lovely lads having a sit down in the living room and popping Netflix on. 3 lovely lads. One of them not here, dead now, of course, and he's not. And just watching.
May he rest in radio.
Stop it. Watching a lovely, silly film about pirates, and
miss you, Andy.
Yes. Well, whether or not I was moved to my very core by the story, I couldn't tell you. But what I just thought was, it was one of those films that seemed to always be a step ahead of me in terms of its ideas. You know? So it's one of those comedies where you're never bored. Like, you're never thinking, yeah, you've done that joke, or like, yeah, I get it. Like, I get what that character's thing is, or I get what that, or you see anything coming. It just keeps sort of. It's all set up, there's a journey through it. It gets very, very silly by the end. But it is, I guess, consistently entertaining. But at the same time, I suppose it doesn't quite have the emotional core of something like Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah. I think the first time I saw it, I don't think I was taken by it so much. I think I love Wallace and Gromit. I think they're absolutely outstanding. The best things on TV whenever it's on. I'm looking forward to being on this Christmas.
Is there a new one?
Well, I don't know. No, just generally.
Oh, they'll all be on.
It will be on at some point, and Feathers McGraw will have me in stitches. As soon as I see it. But when I saw it, I think I just missed a lot of stuff that was going on in the cinema when it was going on. I was trying to concentrate on the story. There's nothing really to concentrate on. But there are so many nice touches, like when they dress up as scientists. No, it's the pirates. Look, we're still the same guys. And lifts their glasses up, calls back to the Girl Guides. Queen Victoria going crazy with the 2 samurai swords. Charles Darwin dressed as a chick feathered and tarred and stuff like that. There's so many. They're the obvious gags.
Yeah, and they're just sustained like little things. And
I think there's one major thing that for me really differentiates it from the other Aardman animations, which is the character of the pirate captain. While every hero in Aardman has flaws, he's much more flawed in that he's very vain. It's his vanity that kind of pushes the whole thing, and that's never really resolved, not fully. So he's a bit of an anti-hero thrown into this.
But also there's no simple moral. It's not like, hey, embrace your friends and be grateful for what you have and you'll stop being a vain jerk. But it's more like, just like, if there is a moral, it's just a bit like, give it a rest now and again, you insufferable man. Yeah. But yeah, it's nice to have a character who's flawed, and his flaws are kind of what keeps him on that knife edge of just getting by.
And it pushes the action.
Yeah, it does. It clearly, well, because the book is a series, and there's the Pirates in an Adventure with Communists and stuff, which would have been great to see. I would have liked that to come out now, in this political climate now. A kids' film promoting communism. That'd be fun. So you feel like they were setting up for a franchise, but for whatever reason, maybe it was that the Pirates thing had sort of died a death already after all, like the 11 millionth disappointing Pirates of the Caribbean film, or what, but it just didn't quite take off like I think everyone was hoping. It would have been nice to see more adventures, I think. I would have been up for that.
What are your thoughts, Felix?
I agree. It translates very well to a TV series. Like, it's something that could be done in half-hour segments.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go down that route and say Pirates with Communists is considered too difficult to push to other markets, there's so many other silly things that you can do with it.
Can I recommend another thing, by the way, while we're on Aardman?
Yeah, sure.
There's a bunch of shorts. I remember my godfather had a VHS tape of Aardman's like classic shorts, and I thought, oh great, like Wallace and Gromit. These weren't them. These were like the film festival, Palme d'Or winning serious shorts. Some of them comedy, a lot of them just documentary. Oh my God. And yeah, like conversation pieces, I think they were called, some of them, which are just someone put a mic in a newspaper office and recorded the dialogue. And then later on the animators listen back and animate a newspaper office scene verbatim. And the dialogue
I've seen those.
Yeah,
they did them for the British Gas adverts as well.
I mean, the Creature Comforts, is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about?
No. Well, these were just these were earlier. These were just they did the same thing with them. They used real verbatim interviews. But the previous series they'd done was, I think, for a Channel 4 season of things. I forget what the season was. But anyway, so one of them that isn't a verbatim piece. It's voiced over by Arthur Smith. And it's called, I was thinking about it recently because I saw the first episode of the new, speaking of Netflix, the new Black Mirror, and I hated it.
Really?
The subsequent episodes are really good. The first one is dross. And one thing that reminded me of was this thing, Ident, which is a 5-minute film, which I just felt did, like 30 years ago, did all the ideas that were in that sort of Instagram focus.
Nosedive was the first one.
That's the one, yeah. And I hated it so much. And I remember thinking, it's like that, like the sort of general social allegory is exactly the same as this film, which is a very simple social allegory set in a maze. And if you just search Aardman Ident, then you'll find it, and it's well worth watching. But anyway, that's the extreme opposite end of stop motion to the Pirates.
Well,
Both great.
It's always good to get new recommendations. I don't know what I was going to say.
Sorry, I totally steamrolled that.
I was going to bring it back to the soundtrack's very fun.
Yeah.
Modern soundtrack, particularly like the injection of "I'm Not Crying," which is a high point of anything that's used. And so,
I thought that was an odd.
It's strange,
choice.
isn't it? Yeah, because I remember I think I was asking somebody recently, what was that in that wasn't Flight of the Conchords, and I couldn't think, and then I remembered it's this.
It's this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a hilarious song and it's brilliant. I find it very odd choosing a pretty recent comedy song to underline in that way. It's choosing someone else's comedy for your own jokes.
It is a bit like having. Do you know, they do this sometimes in films and cartoons and computer games and things where they get an actual comedian to do their actual set in a scene set in a comedy club or something.
Ricky Gervais did that in Grand Theft Auto.
That's right, yeah, exactly. Oof, was a pity. Yeah, it's weird. And Frankie Boyle, I think, as well.
Frankie Boyle's in Grand Theft Auto.
He's been digitised. He's in Grand Theft Auto 5.
terrible.
Oh my god!
It's very strange. It's a terrible idea. But it feels a bit like that in a strange way. It's like cutting away to comedy club and then having an actual comedian do their thing. But it's a soundtrack. It was a nice moment. It worked well in context. But having known Flight of the Conchords first, I went, why is this here?
Yeah, and then you just kind of check IMDb and think, like, is Jermaine Clements one of the voices?
Yeah,
Something like that. Is there a connection there?
Is this why?
Maybe they assume that the audiences will be different. Maybe they assume that our major audience is going to be 8 years old, so this is not a conflict. I don't know. It's struck a jarring note in a film that I enjoyed very, very much. And it wasn't a bad choice beyond the fact that we knew it, beyond the fact that it has its own cultural connotations, and it brings back a whole load of comedy that's already extant.
So it takes you too far out of the film.
A
so
little.
much, yeah.
It suited. I mean, it suited the mood. It was for me. It was just a moment of like, strange they've done that, and then it sort of did suit the moment. But it might as well have been a pop song by anybody, really.
Well, I don't know, but those four sitting around. Have you seen Flight of the Conchords, Helen?
Of course.
Sorry to. We haven't discussed this, but
The disgust on your face.
How dare you?
there's a huge swathe of people around the world who haven't seen Flight of the Conchords, and for us who have seen it, that when that song comes up, I just see Jermaine's face and the fake tears, and so it does take me out of the film in that same way. But anytime that song comes on, I'm smiling, but it does take you out the smiling from this film, I think. So I see what you're saying, Felix, with that.
But do you know what though? Like it happens in other films. I mean, Randy Newman isn't a comedy songwriter, but he writes funny songs. His songs have a sense of humour to them. So when they play
Toy Story.
I Love LA, well, well, I was more thinking I Love LA and Naked Gun, the first one, in the baseball scene, where you've got a sort of a vaguely amusing kind of Randy Newman lyrics set behind a load of visual gags. It's the same basic premise. And as I remember, if I remember correctly, with I'm Not Crying, it is backing up some sort of fairly amusing sort of vignettes of sadness.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same principle, really.
When there's also songs like Supergrass is on there.
Yeah.
And a properly old school Temple Tudor Swords of a
Yeah,
Thousand.
kind of stuff's on there. It's kind of stuff that your dad would like.
Yeah. Which is sort of the vibe you get from the Pirate Captain as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're going to make when this goes live, we'll have a Spotify playlist, and I think
There'll be a playlist.
I think a few of the songs from there will register.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
And so I think maybe I was just thinking, we'll get to put some Flight of the Conchords on there.
Yeah.
They haven't made a film yet that's not on Netflix, so at least we can put some Flight of the Conchords.
Definitely. I think it's I really like that song.
Yeah. It's a great song.
Yeah, I guess it kind of woke me up a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this song was in it. And I sort of went, but why is this song in it?
Yeah.
I'm not, I got really confused.
It's getting in your head. It's making you think.
It's like, why?
So do you think if this was the first Aardman film you'd seen, would you, I'm talking to Helen here for the dear listeners, would you have seen upon this as more favourable film, or are you doing this, is it seen quite badly to you in comparison to Wallace and Gromit?
I don't know what it is about it, because everything you're saying, I'm kind of completely agreeing with you, but I don't know. Maybe it's just everyone in it is an idiot. That is one thing.
Even Charles Darwin, one of the most.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know whether that kind of. I guess Martin Freeman's character is the kind of voice of reason and kind of, sorts everything, and obviously Mr. Bobo as well. So there's a monkey, and Martin Freeman are kind of like
the monkey was he had a lot of good sight gags. Actually,
He's great. Yeah. He speaks in flashcards, which is always fun. Yeah.
It certainly wouldn't put me off wanting to see any more, but I wouldn't, if they made another Pirates film, I probably wouldn't see it.
Okay.
Harsh.
I know.
I think
sorry.
when Felix was talking before about the pirate captain not being that much of an endearing character, I think that's probably why I didn't engage with it the first time I saw it in the cinema, and certainly I didn't engage with him really. The second time I watched it, I was concentrating on everything else that's going around the screen. I think you're right. He's a bit of an idiot. It's more than an idiot. He's self-obsessed and is like, well, you can't win it this year, so just get over yourself. And that
describes me perfectly.
But it's
so
good to
I
have
relate
ambitions, though. Why shouldn't he want to try and do it every year?
Well, it's not. It's just the way kind of.
He just assumes he should win it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know. I really enjoyed that character for that reason. I think everyone has a slightly unusual choice about them. I'm looking at this screen of pictures that we've got up, and I'd forgotten about Queen Victoria there being basically the final boss.
of the film. Yeah,
which is amazing.
That was brilliant.
I've seen lots of
Imelda Staunton, I think, is the.
It is indeed.
Oh
yeah.
Imelda. I'm seeing a lot of taglines here. I'm seeing places to pillage, people to skewer. That's fine.
Very good. Laugh
your booty off. That's like. It's a plunderful life gets the crown from me. I think that's really good. I like that.
It's very British. It's kind of Monty Python-esque. It's very Aardman in its style. There is I really don't know what it is.
Well, listeners and Helen, if that's a problem for you, for the love of God, don't listen to Wooden Overcoats.
So let's get to the scores, guys. Tom.
This is our unique scoring system where we have the recommendability.
One day, Helen, you'll be happy saying that word.
That's it, yeah. We're not sure it's really a word.
It is now, surely. Language is fluid, guys.
This is the beauty of it.
Yeah. I would give it recommendability of... Yeah, I'd say 5. I'm going to put 5 because I think that, there may be caveats. Like if someone said, I'm looking for a really gory horror film or a really sort of chilling, suspenseful crime thriller.
This is this studio called Aardman.
Yes, there's this great studio.
They're right up your alley.
But anyone with who said, even if they just said, can you think of a good comedy? I'd recommend this.
Nice. Felix.
5. Easy.
Oh. But there's me equivocating, and there you are, just hitting out with
it.
Obviously.
Smashing out.
Someone said to me, should I watch Pirates? Be like, yeah, it's great.
Okay,
you'll have a lovely time.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Yep.
Helen.
I'm going to give it a 4. There's no reason why, if you're 8 and you haven't seen this, you should not see it. Or if, you like any of the other Aardman films, you should not see this. Just because it didn't really, connect with me. There's a lot of things to enjoy. So yeah, 4.
I'm going to give it a 4.8.
Oh.
And that's only because...
How's it dropping that point to?
Just because I do prefer Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah,
so much more. But this is awesome.
He likes decimals.
Yeah, I like putting... Yeah. 4.8.
If it had been framed as a dream of Wallace... if we'd started with a shot of Wallace... going, cheese crackers, and then a thought bubble comes out of his head as he's sleeping, and there's a pirate ship, and then we watch the whole film, and then at the end, he wakes up and goes, oh, what a dream. And then the credits, would you give it a 5?
That's a 4.9.
I think I'll give it 4.9.
That's a 4.9.
There's no point in that scenario you just painted there was Gromit. So...
Felix, rookie error.
Repeat viewing score goes for Tom.
I'm going to give it a 4. I think it's not a film I'm going to revisit over and over again, but I certainly would like to see it again.
Felix?
4. Yep, exactly the same.
It's nice when friends get on, isn't it?
We have similar taste.
What?
Helen?
I'm going to give it a 3. I really don't need to see it again, but, there's quite a few things that I missed the first time around, and, it's easy to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 for the... I was surprised at how much stuff I missed the first time, considering the first time was on cinema, and I'm sure I'll happily watch it again and look out for more and more things and try to remember a lot more things I missed. So I'm quite looking forward to watching it, but it's not going to be soon. A small screen score. Do you feel the need to watch this on the...
Well, it would have been, as with any stop motion, the amount of detail in it is so fantastic. It would have been great to see it on the big screen. But that said, we watched it on a mid-sized television. And
An actual television.
on a television.
In this day and age.
I know. Imagine. Well, on that smaller screen, no, I could certainly imagine enjoying it equally. I mean, I'm going to give it I'll give it a 4. I mean, because it doesn't particularly lose too much.
Yeah.
Although it would have been lovely to see it all blown up, all big, with all those individual plasticine hairs.
Felix?
I don't know. I find this a really difficult one to judge. I enjoyed it very much. We saw it on a small screen. I'm going to give it 4.5 because I suppose it would have been funner in bigger. But I didn't
Funner in bigger.
Funner in bigger. That's what I take away from most of life.
That's your name in Czech, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Old funner and bigger trench.
Yes.
I'm going to give it a 4. I mean, I saw it at the cinema. You know, it is nice to see things like that in the cinema, you know, just really see the detail. But, you know, this is... You know, Christmas holidays is probably going to be coming up, and you know, get the family round, get, you know, grandma, uncle, kids.
Such a Christmas film.
You know, hook up the Netflix to the TV unless you're lucky to have your streaming services all in one place. And yeah, you know, it's great. It's great for this scenario.
You're too full. You started drinking at breakfast. You just want to have a sit down, eat peanuts, and even though you shouldn't have anything more to eat, and you want to sort of slightly doze away, and you wake up a bit, and then you're in the middle of the film, and you fall back to sleep, and you just start drifting in and out of it. Christmas Day, afternoon, exactly what you want.
It's a big Christmas burp.
That was...
The modern day cure for indigestion.
I think if I fell asleep watching this film, I'd wake up wanting ham.
Yes. Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
So Christmas Day, perfect.
Yeah, true. Ham and Christmas. Yeah, small screen. I'll give it a 4 as well. I think I'm...
Is that
Like
a
I
thing? Ham at Christmas?
A Christmas ham.
Christmas
yes,
ham.
you could have a Christmas ham.
Not in place of a turkey, but as a side dish.
Yeah,
Unless you're kosher.
An addition, yeah.
Yeah.
We've never had a Christmas ham.
Me neither.
But
With
people
turkey all
do.
the way. People do.
Have you had a Christmas ham?
Felix, I
Have you?
swear to you, it's a thing.
Is it?
I promise you.
Ham.
Listeners, write in. Felix is at Felix Trench on Twitter. If you've ever heard of the concept of a Christmas ham, tweet him now. Whatever you're doing, stop it and tweet Felix that you've heard of a Christmas ham.
Christmas, like gammon.
A beautiful glazed ham.
With the pineapple.
What?
Yes, pineapple on the top. Yeah, a ring of pineapple on the top and all the trimmings on the side.
What are ham trimmings?
Christmas ham.
No, what? But what?
The same carrots and you stuffing and things, and you just have it all.
So you have a second portion of trimmings next to the trimmings for the turkey, and you've got this.
Or
ham.
you
that's
have it in the
separate to
evening, and so you're like, you know, when you're not quite ready to have the full meal again, you'll cook the ham and you'll maybe have it cold with some pickles and some cheeses and some crackers.
I suppose
and
you
things
could.
like
Yeah,
that.
that would make sense.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
but
mean,
also
it sounds lovely.
At any time in the festive period, so you know, Christmas Eve until sort of New Year's, you could have the ham because you've cooked it.
yes, all the ham. But you would just have your turkey dinner. Imagine the Christmas turkey. Now
can see
remove the
it.
turkey, put the ham in there.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the picture.
There's some like lines coming off it, like in a cartoon, to suggest it smells nice.
I feel as though I've said too much.
This is,
Christmas ham.
guys, this has blown my brain.
Engagement score. Tom.
Oh, 5. I couldn't have been more ready for the next joke or the next image. It's just enjoyment for me.
Still
Felix.
thinking about ham.
I am.
Yeah.
I'd give it one
Ham at
Christmas
Christmas?
ham. Christmas ham, though.
Christmas ham.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
just like Christmas hamper, but with the PER taken off at the end.
He's not
But
going to get it. We tried everything.
No, I mean, the principle is sound.
Okay.
It's, Christmas
Right, listen,
ham.
sorry, listen.
5.
For Christmas ham or for Pirates in an Adventure with
Oh
Scientists?
God, I'm not engaged in a Christmas ham.
All right, fair enough.
I'm never
1.
engaging in that nonsense.
Right. Can we start another table for Christmas ham?
3.
3. Just weren't that engaged.
No, I mean, it's the kind of film that if it was on TV, I could kind of put on in the middle and not really care. You know, if I watch the end, and it's fun, but it's not really, you know, thought provoking or, gets me thinking. 3. It's just
And what for Christmas ham engagement?
Oh, 5.
Yeah, 5. Stark disagreement here across the table.
Have you had Christmas ham?
A friend has cooked a ham before for
How was
Christmas.
it?
Yeah, it was great.
What did you have with it?
Well, we had it as a Christmas Eve party, so we had the party on Christmas Eve, and they cooked a ham, and the rest of it she took to her family, and they had it with the Christmas meal, but we just kind of had it with,
Like piccalilli?
Yeah.
I like a piccalilli. Christmas
He's on board. He's on board.
I like
We have a
Because
Christmas piccalilli.
it lasts for a few days, so you can have some like ham sandwiches, and
No,
I've had it.
I've come across ham.
Yeah, but at Christmas.
Felix, you're now being willfully obstructive. And I won't abide it.
It's like ham on any other day, but this day
On Christmas, yes,
Day.
yes.
For engagement, I think I had to check. I don't know. I was checking stuff on IMDb because I couldn't place Hugh Grant, and it just pissed me off. But
Who are you?
yeah, who is this voice? I couldn't remember.
It was also a bit like, is it Hugh Laurie? And then I thought, no, because he's in Arthur Christmas.
I
I never saw that.
Different podcast possibly, but it is on Netflix, and you should definitely watch
Oh, really?
that.
Is it good?
It's brilliant. Yeah.
Well, listeners, tune in to find out whether Felix and Tom ever watched Arthur Christmas.
Someone please pick Arthur Christmas.
Yeah.
No hints there.
This is a call out to all of the future podcasters that we have on here.
I've got a fact about Hugh Grant.
Okay.
If you take the name Hugh Grant and you replace the R with an E, and then just kind of read it like it looks, it makes huge ant. True.
I don't think
What
that
about the
counts
H? What about the second H in Hugh?
You have to take the second H.
That doesn't count as a fact.
It does.
So if you take the word Christmas and replace it with the word ham. then
that's just a ham. It doesn't make any sense.
25th of December is Ham Day.
Listen, we're down a rabbit hole here, and we need another episode to cover this.
so we get our overall score here. We get 4.2.
4.2.
Which is very respectable.
Strong, yeah.
That's good,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Very aware, guys. You have to head off to Paris. So
I have to head off to Paris.
So we need to get who are you? Just so we know who doesn't know about Christmas ham, and where can we find you so we can tell you about Christmas ham?
Felix Drench. I'm at Felix Drench on Twitter. Please do not tweet me about Christmas ham. But maybe tweet me your Christmas traditions, your crazy Christmas traditions.
Judeo-Christian-centric Felix Trench there. I'm Tom Crowley. You can find me at Crowley, 3 E's and a Y. Just search Tom Crowley and find that one. Look, Tom Crowley was taken, and I was just trying to be imaginative, and it's my. I've got other different users. It's so annoying.
Do you feel it's backfired?
Sorry.
Do you feel it's backfired on you?
I don't think so. It's just when I have to say it out loud. If I write it down, it's fine. But on the podcast, this is the problem. Tom Crowley, 3 E's
Is it
and a
quite
Y.
fun writing the 3 E's?
It is, yeah. It is. I mean, that's the good thing of it. Listen, go on Twitter and search Crowley, CROWLEEEY. You'll have all the fun that I have every time I log in.
And also find Overcoats Wooden.
Yeah.
We should mention that.
At Overcoats
At
Wooden on.
Overcoats Wooden,
Yeah.
because Wooden Overcoats is a band who no longer really operate.
Oh yeah, we can't get their Twitter.
At Wooden
handle.
Overcoats.
Yeah, at
Maybe we should
Overcoats Wooden.
do a hostile takeover.
We will. Or woodenovercoats.com. And also you can look on all the podcast apps to find Wooden Overcoats, the funereal podcast sitcom.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
Fantastic. Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
From the Wooden Overcoats, we thank you, Felix and Tom, for being awesome guests. Check out their awesome podcast as well. Even more awesomeness from GL Productions, who are responsible for making this podcast sound more professional than it actually is. And thank you for more awesomeness from the awesome sounds of the mighty people. We are awesome. Leave us an awesome review. You can find us on iTunes. Subscribe now. Do it now. And we are on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod. All details, full details, everything you need to know about us on the website flixwatcher.tv.